Welcome back to you live! I'm Zach.
And I'm Shaw.
I wasn't going to let you go with that nonsense anymore. I had to get us out of there.
What the?
Listeners,
Dude,
you're welcome.
we were having a play in a freaking playing a game.
That's the problem.
My okay, can I be real? Okay,
Yeah.
let me be real with you.
Okay.
You texted me like at like 6:50, and I didn't
Yeah.
respond for like 10 minutes. Here's what happened. Okay, Allie and I got JCWs today, and it was lovely. It was a grand old time. I ate an entire shake with fries and four chicken tenders, and I'm just like a freaking balloon filled with just carbs, right? Like,
Yes,
and
nice.
I turned on Small Ant's recent 100% speed run on Breath of the Wild, which is just an hour and a half long video, and I just immediately fell into a food coma. So then I like kind of like startled away, like, what's happening? Where am I? And like see your text, I'm like, what? You're oh no, oh Bash, I've screwed everything up.
That text actually came in yesterday at this time, and you're just waking up from your food coma.
It's Tuesday. Oh my gosh.
No, it was so funny because like I texted you and I was at my computer. I waited for like 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. I was like, so, Sean normally replies. I'm like, I do need to go to the store. I can make it. And then as I'm walking out to my car, I got your text like, oh yeah, give me like 5, 10 minutes. I'm like, I could still make it. So I went to the store and now I'm back. So sorry to make you wait, but really it's your fault for going into a food coma.
I agree with that, frankly. And I'm just like not like cognizant at all. Like it
Oh, lovely!
I went to bed late last night. I woke up at like a normal time, which meant I just like lost sleep. And the food coma, it's like one of those naps where it just doesn't actually help. You just
Oh,
want
that's
to
every nap.
continue to be asleep. And so like I'm just like I've already just been a mess all day today. It's just been a
Wait.
it's
I feel like we've had a talk about this before, but do you take naps? Are naps like helpful for you? Because I cannot take naps. No matter how long the nap is, if I take a nap, I'm waking up more tired than when I went to sleep.
Zach, let me tell you a little something about me and naps, okay? We have a rich history together.
Oh yeah.
Um, and that is because of depression. Because man, there was something. It's a form of escape, or it was at least. I like at the beginning of college and in high school. Honestly, I took naps every single day, basically, um, because it was a way for me to stop being awake. Like
Mm.
that was enough. So yes, I take less naps now. I feel like I just sleep at better correct times though, so I think that helps. Not that I'm like I go to bed at like midnight typically, and I wake up at like 8, so that I figure that's like the 8 hours. So like I think that just like keeps me going. But like I still do take naps like occasionally, but I don't think because I don't, the reason I take a nap is not to catch up on sleep. That's never the reason I take a nap. It's never me going like I'll take a nap and then I will feel better afterwards. That's not the point of it because I'm not going to feel better afterwards. The point of it is to just be like, I'm tired now. I'm sick of being awake now. I'm going to sleep. I know it's going to suck later on, but it's fine. And then you just deal with it later on. It's a future you problem.
Man, dude, how many problems have we caused our future selves?
Dude.
I'm still doing it. So, future me, I'm sorry.
Oh, you think about it. Like all your life is every moment you're making choices that will either lead to problems for future you or preventing problems for future you. And how many of those, what's the balance there? I think most of the time I'm creating more problems than I am preventing.
Hey. Those don't matter. That is a future problem. We are here living
It's-
in the present. This is
That's what I'm
present
saying,
us.
man. We're being very present. Look at us. Not a cell phone in sight.
Well, definitely not.
I just threw my phone on the ground.
I was gonna throw my phone. They're like, ooh, actually, that might be a bad idea.
Did you hear it? Like
I know, yeah, the clatter, yes. Oh, dude, okay. So I have a story, and
Please.
it's like a 20-second story, but I'm gonna tell it anyways because it just happened.
Yeah.
On my journey to the unknown world of the outside to go to the store, which I venture to occasionally so I can not die.
Uh-huh. I've heard of these concepts. We're good.
Yeah. I was turning out of the parking lot, and there were three cop cars in a row that passed me. Like I had to wait for all of them to go by. But not only were they just like they were all marked sheriff, every single one. And I'm just like, hello? I'm like, what is happening over here? Like, should I be concerned about something?
Maybe they're all racing off to a to a showdown at high noon.
Well, no, you'd think that obviously, but one of them came. Wait, it's all coming together. 3 cars left, Sean. When I came back and turned into the parking lot, I saw one drive back the way we came. It came. So 3 left and only 1 returned. He was the winner of the shootout.
Oh no, the other 2 died.
It was a good old Western showdown. Tumbleweed. Oh. Yeah, that's what happened. I'm glad that as I was able to we were talking through that, we were able to find out what truly happened.
I love how low effort that was.
Low effort. That's the most effort I've put into anything today, and I went to work.
My bad. Yo, question for you, the Zach in the long shirt.
I'm not wearing a long sleeve shirt.
Dang it, I guessed. Fetch. It was a guess, you know.
If you would have said that yesterday, you actually would have been wrong yesterday too. But the day before that, maybe.
Yeah, the Zach in the clothes. Question for you, Zach.
Yeah.
Has your semester started? Is that this week?
Well, it starts on Wednesday. So, you know,
gosh.
how dare you interrupt one of my free days before I go back to school?
Why didn't you tell me? We're still in the in-between?
Yeah, and so here I am. Sean drug me from my peaceful rest, my vacation in between semesters. Like, we're doing Spicy Nuggs, and you're gonna be here. I'm like, okay, so now I'm here.
This ruins everything.
It really
Let me
does.
explain why. Let me explain why this ruins everything.
Okay.
Last time, you told me we're going to put this episode in its own playlist by itself.
Yep.
It's going to exist in a vacuum.
And you did, and I saw it, and I appreciated it.
But did you read the description
of course
of the playlist and the video?
Oh, I didn't actually go to the playlist. I just came up in my recommended.
So here is the playlist description. Are you ready?
Okay.
No, you're not. Okay. Does this playlist exist? Can anything exist singular from anything else? Surely this episode, though it is cast off and separated from any others, not even falling into the organizational methods used thus far, can still be called a part of Spicy Nuggs and Smash Bros, right? If we are all as unique and special as we are taught, does that leave us in a similar position as this episode, as this playlist, adrift and alone amongst the multitudes of others all around us? Or is it that idea of uniqueness and aloneness, a fabrication created by ourselves to cope with our own feelings of fear and loneliness? None of this is covered in this episode.
Holy fetch!
So,
That is so perfect. Because now
So
it's
that
not
in
alone.
the description of the episode, I was like, does this episode truly exist within the realm of reality? Or does this digital space simply mean that none of this is truly real? What can be defined as real? Only the stuff found in our physical world? Or can the digital world and the many creations that lie within it be defined as real? What about things of an emotional and spiritual nature? Is something real simply because it feels real? Anyways, all of this is to say something, Plato, caves, shadows, Socrates, something. You get the picture. The merch is real, though.
Oh, the merch is real, let me tell you.
So you ruined it.
If there's one thing we care about, it's the merch.
It's the merch. The merch is real. Everybody, listen, life has no meaning. Buy our merch, because the merch is real. So now I don't know what to do because, like, do I stick this episode in that playlist?
No,
But
no,
then
no,
it
no,
ruins
no,
the
no,
whole
no,
philosophical
no.
discussion I just put forth.
Wait,
What's the point
wait.
in that?
Sean, I see two paths before us. I think both are equally great. So I want
I'm
your
excited.
opinion.
Mhm.
First path is we put it in to an entirely new playlist. So there is two unique playlists in between the two semesters. And but this specific playlist is like basically is a whole nother philosophical point of view and argument that absolutely trashes on the other one. Or we have path number 2. And it talks about being existing singular, but it can't because it's all related to everything else. But it's the singular episode is the whole thing, and then there's 2 episodes in it with no explanation at all.
It's just never mentioned. Actually, I kind of like the second one. Maybe it's just because there's less effort on my part. I'll see. It'll be a coin flip on what I do. It'll totally depend on when I edit this and upload this, like how I'm feeling.
Perfect.
Because like all of that could have just never gotten written in. It just happened to be the day I edited and uploaded it. I was just like, I just typed for 10 minutes, and then I was like, oh, cool, here we are.
Well,
All right.
future me is excited to see what you decide. So,
Hey, yeah, let's all hey, and you know, if you're excited to hear what the decision is, why don't you go on down to that merch store down below and find what's really real in this world, you know, capitalism.
Amen. Okay. Sean, I have an update for
Ooh,
you.
Exciting.
Not for the people.
For
The
me.
people have not been introduced to this yet. But I have an update for you.
Well, screw them anyways. What have you got?
Well, here we go. I'm gonna set the stage, set the mood, so the
Got
people
my eyes
understand.
closed. I'm ready.
Here I was on a wonderful Friday evening. I got back from work. Things were being great. I had probably just had dinner. I had the whole night before me. And, I was feeling pretty good. And then Sean had to ruin everything. Like he always does. And
Every
he
time
sends
I
me
get-
a screenshot of a Reddit post. And it asks, would a big block of cheese stop a shard blade? So, I'd like to read the post out for the people so they get the full
Please.
appreciation. I'm going to tell you with a definitive answer that there's only one possible explanation for this.
Great. I'm ready.
Here is the post. Okay, this isn't a crown post, I swear, but I work in a cheese plant and we regularly handle blocks of cheese, upwards to 600 pounds. All I can think of is how hard it is to cut the cheese with a knife, no matter how sharp it is, because the cheese can form suction to the side of the blade and make it way harder to cut Would that be a problem for the shard blade? Radiant blades could probably transform to break the suction, but a dead blade is stuck in its form. We probably need to put like a spoiler warning for Stormlight before that, but it's fine.
The first time we talked about Stormlight so much, but the time we put up a spoiler warning is when we're talking about cutting a block of cheese. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So I read this. And this was my response to Sean. I said, well, Fetch, I wasn't planning on having a crisis tonight, yet here I am. And Sean never responded. He let me stew on this all by myself. And so I promptly ignored his next text message, which I honestly just forgot to reply to. I've thought about this more than I probably should have. About would a big block of cheese be able to stop a shard blade?
Yeah.
And I have come to an answer.
I'm ready.
It's probably the simplest answer. Probably an answer that people are going to be sad to hear. But yes, a shard blade could chop through a block of cheese. Okay? Now hear me out. Here's the reasoning.
Okay.
Let's talk about how shard blades cut through stone or anything else.
Uh-huh.
First off, I have to pose the question: is the shard blade actually cutting stone? In the way we think of cut, is it physically cutting the stone?
I don't think so. I don't know.
See, I don't know either, but I like to think of it this way. If through cutting stone there is no resistance, it's like it's moving through water or something, right?
Uh-huh.
I see no reason that it should abide by any other physical law like suction when cutting through a block of cheese.
Uh-huh.
And that's it.
Oh, okay.
That's all I got.
Okay. I'll give you a counterpoint, and then I'll talk more about where I found
Okay,
this.
you're wrong, but please go ahead.
Here's my counterpoint. This was my first thought with this, and you can tell me what you think. So cheese is technically like a bunch of like bacterial cultures that grew.
Okay,
right?
yes.
Doesn't that make a block of cheese technically alive?
So would it just kill the part of the cheese it passes through?
Right,
And it would go gray and limp.
Right.
Okay, but no. This is an important question, but Fetch. Okay, so this is where we get to the definition of cut again. Because I believe how the post uses the word stop a shard blade as if it would stop the cutting motion due to the suction. Can we agree on that premise?
Wait. Say it one more time.
Okay. The post puts the point out that a big block of cheese may be able to stop a shard blade, and then he defends that with the idea of suction.
Right. Okay, yeah, so I'm with you.
Either way, if the block of cheese gets cut, or it kills the block of cheese, I still believe the sword would pass through the cheese.
Okay.
So, I am still right.
Okay, Zach. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Are you ready for Brandon Sanderson's official answer?
Oh, wait, are you serious? Oh no. I can't wait to be wrong now.
I knew this was on Reddit. It looks like this was also asked at a Q&A live stream.
That makes sense.
Where he answered a short answer where he basically said, yes, it can cut through
Oh,
cheese.
oh,
They're
thank goodness.
But then the Reddit post, he responded with quite a bit, quite a bit here. So here, you want me? I'll just read it verbatim here. I'm getting this from coppermind.net, which is the wiki for Brandon stuff. Brandon. So I'll admit, I've been considering the cheese question since it was asked.
I'm so glad I'm the only one! Okay, sorry.
No, please. What were you going to say?
I just said, I'm so glad I'm not the only one who thought way too much about this.
Okay. I'm not sure if it has to be cheese, but any object that is sufficiently thick but also sufficiently pliable that it's going to press down the blade while it's cutting is going to create drag on the blade. The blade does, by necessity of my understanding of the relevant physics, need to be able to vaporize a tiny bit of matter into investiture while cutting. Okay, in order to create space for the blade to continue to slide through. This is related to why it doesn't cut things with soles. At the same time, I'm not convinced that this is relevant to the actual question being asked. I think that I have to relent that with a sufficiently large block of cheese and a shard bearer trying to cut lengthwise through it, the drag produced on the flat of the blade is going to tire the shard bearer, making cheese legitimately more difficult to cut through than stone or metal. And a big enough block of cheese might stop the slice straight up because the weight placed on the blade will be pretty heavy. That said, the top replies to this thread are pretty relevant and are correctly explaining the mechanics of the situation. There is this little shield of vaporization around a blade while it cuts, so a thinner blade, like Zeth's Honor blade, might not have this drawback at all. It depends on how far back the shield of vaporization extends and how thick the blade is. My current instinct says that wider blades would be stopped by this, and so those of you planning to make 10-foot thick walls of cheese to stop an invading shard bearer can continue in your endeavors. Remember, kids, keep your shard blade thin for actual combat, for multiple reasons. Only make the big showy forms when you're trying to look intimidating, with a nod to the fact that a thick blade does tend to be better for getting through shard plate, giving you a bit more mass to hit with. Choose Adelin's blade for shard plate duels. Seth/Jezreel's Honor blade for cheese. There we go.
Man, that was...
From the man himself.
That might have been the best reply ever. Well, I better start making cheese.
You know what I love? This is what I love about that entire sequence of events. It shows that Brandon read that and then thought about it, and then thought about it some more, and then delved in and read what people were saying, and then thought about it and crafted a reply because he just cared so much about the question. And now that has to be canon, right? Like that's
Well, no, here's what I'm thinking. Is cheese then a better defense than shard plate?
Well, with shard plate, you get the magical properties of it, like strengthening you and speeding you up, so you can not only hold it up but also just move faster. With cheese, you don't really get that.
So what you're saying?
If you want enough cheese to stop a shard plate, it's going to be too heavy for you to move. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, but let's talk about safe rooms.
Okay.
And how Zeth's son Valado, Truthless of Shinovar, loves to cut through walls to get to his target to assassinate them. All I'm saying is that if you have a safe room made of cheese, all of a sudden, your ruler is not in nearly as much danger of being assassinated.
Well, to be fair, based on Brandon's reply,
wait,
Seth's blade
that's true.
Was the one
He's
that
bowed.
would
They're bowed
probably
anyways.
could potentially get through it. Potentially. Not necessarily. The one drawback is it's an honor blade, so it's not going to transform. So if you have a thick enough wall, it's going to take Zeth a while to get all the way through it. Because it's going to have to take like multiple carve throughs, if that makes sense. But although I do wonder, because what he would do is cut like a square out, right? And then he'd infuse it and change its gravity so it slides out by itself because you can't really move it at that point, right? Would the cheese just kind of stick to itself and the friction cause it to stop from falling out?
Okay, okay. What? Okay, we need an official interlude slash short story in the next Stormlight Archive book about cutting through cheese with a shard blade and how it must work. And obviously, it has to have oh, Fetch. What's her name? Lift.
Lift? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's what will happen: is all of the shard bearers will be trying to get through it, and they'll all fail in different ways, like we talked about. Zeth will be able to cut it, but it won't be able to change the gravity and get it through. Someone else will not be able to cut all the way through because their blade is too wide. Whatever. Lift will simply take her shard stick, as she doesn't typically use a shard blade, and turn it into a spoon and just eat her way through.
Oh, and dude, you wouldn't be able to stop Lift from eating that cheese.
She'll get all the way through.
It's over. So what I'm hearing is Lift is a more effective assassin than Zeth.
And the crazy thing is, as she eats, like if she starts getting full, she could just burn it away into Stormlight.
Yep. Yep. or just does anything to burn Stormlight, right? Like, and then all of a sudden,
gosh.
I find it fascinating that there's one more aspect to this which we have to infer from Brandon's reply.
Okay.
And that is that cheese is not alive and doesn't have a soul.
He did mention that. He said in the relevant physics, basically that the bacteria of the cheese does not seem to count as alive.
So here's an important question. So we know bacteria is alive. So it's not the living part that influences what a shard blade does, but it's the soul.
It's the spiritual aspect.
Mm.
Or maybe it's the cognitive. No, it wouldn't be the cognitive aspect. Or maybe it is. Because maybe bacteria doesn't have a cognitive aspect except as created by people. They don't think for themselves. I guess the question is, no, yeah, that lines up. Because like we see them like cut like great shells and chasm fiends with shard blades, and their limbs fall off and break. So does a chasm fiend have a soul, or does it just have the ability to think? Maybe both.
I don't have the answer. I need to ponder on this now. Fetch. I thought I was done with the cheese.
I think it's interesting that he talks about that it turns a certain amount of the material into investiture, which lets it cleanly glide through whatever it is.
Yes.
And that, he says, is why it does not kill us or get rid of this, cannot slice through a soul, something with a soul, which is an interesting statement. You're not able to turn the soul into investiture? Is that the implication there? Then what happens to the soul? Because it seems like a very dramatic killing either way. Like you turn gray and your eyes burn out.
Yeah. Or
like,
that maybe it just has some effect, right? Like I think like some compounding effect when the two meet, or
yeah, it's like a chemical reaction of sorts, a spiritual.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was going for. Like that, how I was trying to explain it, but I don't know.
Intriguing.
It's interesting that like just talking about shard blades, like because like so I'm almost done with Words of Radiance.
Nice.
And
dude, you cruising? Holy crap!
I am. I know. I read every night. What can I say? I'm flying. But it's fascinating that like there's still things or about shard blades that we just don't understand. Like, why do the eyes burn out?
Yeah, I think it's funny because obviously based on this post it's so funny because like it's a post about cutting through cheese. Like it just seems like the stupidest thing. Even though he says it's like not a creme post, he's just genuinely curious. But like it has revealed something about shard blades that I at least have never considered. I think like in my mind, like magical swords that can cut through almost anything is just kind of a trope, and so I didn't think too deeply on it. Um, when it was revealed that it was the Spren, I thought that was a really cool reveal, but I still didn't think too deeply about the blades themselves. But this implies that there's a lot more thought into the
How they function or like why it
yeah,
happens.
exactly, yeah, of what's going on behind the scenes with it, and hopefully that will be revealed.
No,
Maybe
no, yeah, like, and I think knowing Brandon, it's totally gonna be something that comes up, right?
right.
And like, even is it in? I can't remember if it's Way of Kings or Words of Radiance, but where Zeth goes to is going and assassinating the different rulers, and the people have the shields that can block the shard blade,
The half shards,
the
yeah,
half shards. Yeah, so like, and like that is something that like shows up then, and then kind of just like disappears for a while. Like the idea. So I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if the idea of these half shards come back into play in different forms later, and like that we kind of get more insight into why shard blades can't go through them and stuff. Um, interesting, interesting.
Yeah. The half shards bring up another interesting point within the universe itself because it's this interplay that is especially covered within Rhythm of War as you bounce around through it. The interplay between the new technology and the old magic, right?
Yes.
Um, because like people will mention throughout the series the idea like, oh, great discoveries and advancements are being made. Maybe one day we'll even make a shard blade. And people think to themselves, I don't think that's even possible because we just don't understand them at all. Um, and so you got to wonder like, how strongly does the magic persist outside of the realm of being turned into technology, or does it persist outside of that realm at all? Will they continue to make those steps that will eventually find them the way to make blades out of maybe like spren, like that unwilling spren potentially? Um, we
Well,
kind
isn't
of see that idea, but
or I might be totally wrong here. This is like something that's creeping at the edge of my memory that I'm like, is this like I feel like this is a conversation I have with somebody, but isn't Nightblood from Warbreaker? Well, he's in Stormlight as well, but wasn't that like an attempt to create something like a shard blade?
yes, kind of. Um, it's been a long time since I've read that, but like the basic idea is like awakening things is giving them a breath or a couple of breaths or whatever, like the soul of
Yeah.
of something, whatever that it's just investiture, right? Give them investiture and give them a simple command, they can accomplish that command, they can animate themselves in some way and accomplish that command, and then the breath leaves.
Yep.
And they used enough breath in Nightblood when they gave the command destroy evil that somehow it gained
Sentient.
sentience of
Yeah.
some kind.
Yep.
But I wonder if that's just has to do with the amount of investiture used.
But wasn't like
Um,
shard blades like the model for Nightblood, or is
I
that,
don't
or am I
I
completely wrong
don't
on that?
know. That's a good question. I don't know for sure. That ooh, he might have said something like that in Rhythm of War or Oathbringer. I can't remember.
It's been so long. Anyways, um,
Anyways, we've
I
done
hope
this now.
I hope you didn't have a topic prepared for today, because I just stole it with a small, I thought would be 5 minute
No,
conversation about
no,
cheese.
no. I am here to talk about cheese and shard blades all day, every day. Frankly,
Great, great. Um,
I'm I'm glad you brought this up. Everybody, just remember, take notes on chapter 5, and next week we'll have a test on this material.
and remember what's important and truly real, and go ahead and check out the link down below and check out the merch store.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm still Sean.
And I'm still Zach.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Do 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 carpet sucker do 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 carpet sucker do 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 carpet sucker do 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 carpet sucker.
Hello?
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 Hello.
Oh my. You have no idea. This is freaking. Those first two hellos were through my speakers. So I was just shifting it over, and then as soon as it goes into my headphones, it's just like, hello.
Yes. I mean, that was honestly all part of the plan. I knew that was happening, and yeah.
Dude, you're thinking like 12 steps ahead of this.
That is some 4-dimensional thinking right there.
That's what I like to hear. 4 dimensions. The first is like a line, I guess. The second, like a picture on a wall. The third, the physical world which we inhabit. And the fourth, the higher realm of thought. Being able to realize that you don't actually know anything and you should stop talking.
Whoa. Obviously, the 4th dimension is the mental dimension. And
The mental dimension.
Everyone knows this.
I will now transport us to the mental dimension.